Ooh.
YouTube and Facebook, the final frontier. These are the conversations that are worth having.
From two dorks who don't know anything else but to waste their time talking about Star Trek.
This
They
is
love it so
basically my point.
Yes.
To talk about episodes that have been aired for over 20, 30, 50 years.
Keep going. You got
To
it.
boldly go where every other YouTube channel has gone before. Welcome to Talking Trek. I am Dan. That guy is Brian. Oh, that guy. I'm going to point this way. That guy is Brian.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, man. It's been a week.
It has. It has. It's been a week.
It has literally been, literally, figuratively, all the ways that matter.
Mm-hmm.
But welcome. We are here. We are talking about the best things in the universe, Star Trek. And today, it is... I'm not sure if you recognize that music, anybody, but that is Star Trek The Next Generation, themed by Alexander Courage.
Wait a second. I thought that was from Star Trek The Motion Picture. We're not talking Star Trek The Motion Picture here?
No.
I'm out.
You're out? All right.
No.
You know what? We are going to be talking about Star Trek The Motion Picture at some point. And because there are 13 Star Trek movies, which means we could... talk about 13 Star Trek movies, having 13 weeks of content if we give them all each their own special episode feature from us. I think we should. But today, as we were saying, friends, we are talking The Next Generation. Booyah, right there. Star Trek The Next Generation, one of the greatest TV shows in history, if I say so myself.
How old were you when it came out?
What it started, 87?
Yep.
So I would have been 6 years old. I was in first grade because I turned 7 at the end of 87.
Did you watch it live?
Yes, I remember the head of Paramount Television coming out and doing a direct address to the people. Like, hey, tonight we're trying something new. And the thing is, on the Fox affiliate where we watched Star Trek, it replaced in the lineup, at least that night, the original series. Because my dad would have me watch the original series with him, and except for the Trouble with Tribbles and a few other episodes, I'm like, no, I don't want to watch this because I was a little jerk. But I remember the Wild West episode. That's not Day of the Dove. I forget what that one's called.
We did an episode about that too, and I can't remember either.
We did many years. I was gonna say many years ago, but that's actually true. Quite a while ago, we did in the original podcast form of this. We were talking about that. Spectre of the Gun.
Oh yeah, Spectre of the Gun.
And I remembered that one, and I remembered Trouble with Tribbles, and I was like, okay, that's great. But everything else Star Trek I didn't like. But my dad loved it, and then Next Generation happened, and that was the Trek for me.
See, now I grew up watching the original series. I mean, I didn't watch it live, but I remember in the early 70s being a very young man, and my mother sitting me on the thing with a plate full of Chef Boyardee or whatever it was, and we would watch the original series together, and that's how I fell in love with the show. So, excuse me, when Next Generation came out, boy, did I hate it.
Really?
Oh yeah, I sat there with a paper and a pencil, and I wrote out a list of everything that I hated about it. I mean, I was 17.
Okay.
When I came out, and it was an abomination to me. It was. I hated the ship. I hated the uniforms.
Oh.
I hated the simple, the single tone beep 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 of every button. Yeah, I mean, I just tore it apart. It was so stupid because I never missed an episode, and before you know it, I loved it.
Yeah. I'm not sure how much of my Star Trek stuff you can see back here, but I have my Picardigan right there. Mm-hmm. There is a Van Gogh style print of the Enterprise D on the shelf over there, in between the creepy doll of me and the Mr. Spock teddy bear. I have the Enterprise D on top of the Harry Potter books.
Nice.
I have a lot of badges lined up on the shelf below that.
The Enterprise D looks like she's in the position where she was left on Veridian 3.
Are we talking about don't let Troy drive the ship?
Right, exactly.
Oh man. I mean, everybody. I remember at the time people were like, "Oh no, this is why you don't let women drive." It's just like, no. Most of the helms, most of the people manning helm on the Enterprise D we saw over the years were women, and everybody's favorite helmsman was Ensign Rose. So come on, it's just like, no, Deanna Troi, don't let her fly the ship.
Right. She's just not ready for that.
Like, also, why was she at helm?
I think there was. I
don't remember. We'll find out.
Emergency. So something happened. The ship was being rocked with explosions. They were being attacked by the Klingons, Lursa and Bator, and Riker said, "Deanna, take the helm."
Okay. Yeah. Susan Hill, a longtime watcher with us, friend of the show, says the ship was already crashing when she took over. All right, I'll give it. But she should have been in charge of evacuating the civilian population to the saucer section, which normally I think they're all on there anyway. But she also says hate watching is a real thing, going back 30 plus years now.
Mm-hmm. So, but if you think about what Star Trek: The Next Generation did, is because of that, they kind of beat Marvel to the punch with the cinematic universe.
They really did. They had everything connected. They had their, and they had already been connecting their universe through the television side of it for years. They had Spock, McCoy, and Scotty and Sarek all involved in the Next Generation.
Mm-hmm.
But then bringing Kirk into it to meet face to face with Picard, that made it work. I would not take that out, but I would completely redo the movie. Like, Picard, go back half an hour before that. Why was that the extent of your
maybe that moment you met him in 10 Forward? I don't know. Crazy.
Yeah, just like, oh, we're going to stop you. Or even, hey, Klingons are attacking my ship. Let's stop that. I don't know.
So, but I'm sorry, I probably misspoke saying cinematic universe, but the connected universe. What I meant.
Oh no, it's totally great. Yeah, and fans love that. Fans love that. I remember, and Kevin Smith does this as well, on talking about on his shows on Batman and whatnot. But I remember sitting in the movie theater for Batman Forever, the Val Kilmer one, and Dick Grayson is getting on a motorcycle that he's stealing from Bruce Wayne, and he's gonna go off and rejoin the circus. And Bruce Wayne says to him, he goes, "Oh, you're going off to join the circus? Best of luck. It's halfway to Metropolis by this point." I'm like, oh, he acknowledged Superman's existence just by extension. But I was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, so little things for sure.
It's those. It's just those. Yeah, mention it happens. Like,
when Star Trek: The Next Generation started, when they first started talking about like the Daystrom Institute, and we were like, oh my God, we know who Daystrom is. And,
we met him, and now he has an institute. Little things like that are what's important. But
why would they give him an institute?
Why would they give him an institute?
Yeah,
anybody or him specifically?
Him specifically, considering what happened with the M5 computer, you'd think that he's not really deserving of that.
You'd think. However, he attempted to make up for it. I don't know. or the Federation enjoys, at the risk of making this political, but Star Trek always goes, the Federation enjoys building monuments to losers.
Who knows?
The losing side gets the monument. There you go. But no one watches our show anyway. Who cares? This is just for us. But let's talk about some of our favorite episodes. I picked 3. Brian picked 3. There's actually, obviously so many more. There's over 100, nearly 200 episodes we could talk about.
It was so hard.
But there's 6 that we're going to talk about. And Brian, just for you, I know that this is one of your favorite episodes that we could talk about.
It's I think, hands down, the greatest episode of any Star Trek series. I mean, really, it is number one of them all.
And it is
Sub Rosa.
Space Ghost. That's the episode, right?
I'm kidding.
Yeah. So are we talking about Sub Rosa?
Yeah.
Oh goodness!
I remember watching that the first time. I was, again, young, and I was like, "What the hell is happening here?" I just couldn't believe it. It was just so bizarre. But yeah. So, all right, what are your favorite top 3 episodes, Dan?
Well, you had pointed out, let's not talk about episodes that everyone has talked about, because it's like, there's the top 10 that everyone always picks. But we can talk about episodes that are equally great. So let's not say they're my top 3. They're my second 3. And okay. I'm going with today, I'm going with All Good Things, the final episode, which I think many people would still put in their top 10.
We are looking at my giant mug, by the way. Where's your picture?
Oh, sorry. I forgot to make me bigger again. I was looking at a different screen. But talking about All Good Things, the final episode, talking about The Offspring, and Loud as a Whisper. I think those 3 are fantastic. Agreed.
And, those are great episodes.
And what are the episodes we're talking about for you?
My second 3, would be Tapestry.
Mm-hmm.
Jean-Luc as a young cadet, what could he have done different? Changed his life. Jean-Luc Picard. Chain of Command, the 2-parter, which is the one where he's captured by the Cardassians. There are 4 lights. Yep. And Lower Decks.
All right. Well, let's start talking. Queued up right now, I have, and here we go. The Offspring, the episode where Data makes a child.
That's a great episode.
It really is.
And Haley Cobb did a great job as Lal. She
was amazing. She was taking on so many of Data's mannerisms without actually mimicking Data. And that is an amazing thing. And then you also saw an amazingly emotional performance from Brent Spiner without Data actually crossing into expressed emotion.
Yeah.
So you'd say, like if it was Patrick Stewart doing it, you'd say, oh, it was a very restrained performance. But since it's Data, it's like, does he have emotions? Does he have them but doesn't acknowledge them? Does he genuinely not have them? And this episode helped talk about that. And Susan Hill also points out, he's biting that female.
Why did we have to revisit, do you think, the whole thing with androids' rights?
Because
I thought that was settled in Measure of a Man, and now here it is rearing its ugly head again.
Measure of a Man, another episode I wanted to actually bring up, but I was like, okay, I have one Data-centric episode. Let's not focus too much on Data. I think because it's an ongoing issue, because you see it here, you see it first in Measure of a Man, and then also throughout Picard. Oh, we've outlawed synthetic life forms in the Federation. Also, would have been a great point. I mean, because they deactivated and took apart B4. What if Data had still been alive after this had happened? Would it be like, yeah, it's like, oh no, you get a pass, Commander, but anybody like you isn't allowed to exist from here on out.
Hell yeah.
And it's just like, oh, that would also have been an amazing way to explore it. Of Data's there. And it's just like, how do I speak up for this or anything? That would have been a great way to explore it. But because just like issues in our own time, it's never settled.
Things keep coming back to real.
Yeah. So The Offspring is my first of my second 3 choices. For you, let's talk about Chain of Command.
Chain of Command. Boy, what is this captain's name? It's escaping me.
Edward Jellicoe.
Captain Jellicoe. Man, he was designed perfectly. I mean, didn't everyone hate him? Like, how dare you come into our house? Like, the Enterprise was our house, the viewers, and you're coming in here and you're changing all the things and making everybody mad. And
yet he did everything. And part of the reason people hated him was by the book.
Mm-hmm.
He got Troy to wear a uniform.
And
I'm going to make myself big on
it.
He got Troy to wear a uniform. He changed Star Trek canon because the show is episodic, and yet that stayed. Troy never goes back to her jumpsuits until like the final episode. All right, rant over.
Yes, and of course, this is the famous episode, the famous meme. There are four lights. That we see. It's Patrick Stewart at his best. It's
wonderful. You have David Warner as the Cardassian, Star Trek favorite. He played St. John Talbot, the Federation ambassador in Star Trek V, The Search for God. He was Chancellor Gorkon. That's what that title actually was. He was Chancellor Gorkon in Star Trek VI. He's been Romulan commanders. This guy comes back a lot.
Yeah, he's great, and the character was written so well. I mean, it was so dark with the bringing his children there to watch him torture a man. Of course, they don't look at as a man.
Yeah, he's effectively subhuman, even though obviously not human. But yeah, that is it's so great.
So much great about this two-parter. With Jellicoe, with Troy getting into uniform, with Picard's some of the greatest acting he did on the entire series.
With Riker, pardon my French, getting shit canned.
Yeah.
And then you see Data in the crimson uniform in the first officer's chair. I mean, it's just like, oh my God.
Riker's swagger was like, oh, now you need me, do you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, so great. Just absolutely wonderful. I absolutely love that episode. You are absolutely right to pick it. Janine Rinker, going back real quick to talking about Measure of a Man and The Offspring. She says she's seen the X have no rights in science fiction novels as clones have no rights. And that is a thing that also tangentially gets brought up in Next Generation as well.
It's funny you mentioned that. I just was watching a review of a hidden gem in sci-fi, which is a show from the 90s called Space Above and Beyond.
Oh yeah, I watched that show.
Oh, I loved it. And they had that very same thing where the tanks, the in vitro people, they really had no rights. So it was an interesting take on that whole storyline.
It's that Space Above and Beyond is a great show.
It is.
And I think you can stream it on Prime. I think I've seen it there.
I'll have to go look because I loved it.
Yeah. Oh, and Susan Hill points out we dealt with it in Enterprise, the clone of Trip. Enterprise is not a show I'm terrifically familiar with. I'm going to actually have to do a rewatch.
I don't remember that, honestly. I only watched it through one time.
And when you did your big watch a couple of years ago.
Right. And it's not like Next Gen or DS9 where I've watched them over and over and over. I gave up on Enterprise when it was airing live at the end, I think, end of season 2. I just stopped watching.
I did at the end of season 1. And up to that point, it had, for me, the strongest pilot episode of any of the Star Trek series.
For me, I agree with you, by the way. It was a great pilot. But I didn't want to make the mistake I made with Voyager. You know my feelings about Voyager. And I waited for 7 seasons for it to get better, and it never improved. So I wasn't giving Enterprise that same thing. I'm like, that's it. I'm out. But rewatching it years later, it was good. I should have kept watching it. I can mute the opening theme song.
I liked the theme song because it was a separation, because since it was taking place 100 years before the original series, and we had already established with Zefram Cochrane 70 years before that, hey, we're still playing rock and roll and whatnot. Why not? Why not have a different kind of song?
Wedding song. Rod Stewart actually did a cover of that song too.
Yeah.
And so when I hear it, that's all I can hear. And I was a DJ for 30 years, so it just reeks of cheesy, sappy wedding song. Blah.
I got faith.
I'm coming through the screen. I'm coming for you.
Well, let's talk about my next one, Loud as a Whisper, which I think is an amazing episode. It's from season 2, possibly season 1, but I think season 2 of The Next Generation. Well, obviously Next Generation, where you have Reva. He's a Federation diplomat who is deaf, and he and his entire family, who were all diplomats before him, they were all born deaf, and they communicate through their chorus. 3 people, Greek style, who communicate different parts of your personality. And there was the one of passion, the one of logic, and the one of war. And then Data has to learn sign language to help the Enterprise crew communicate with Reva, which, by the way, you'd almost think everyone would have already known. But it was sign language to an extent.
Well, I mean, you would think that at that time, much like blindness, they've found a way around it.
Yeah.
So maybe it wasn't. It's not such a thing.
Maybe. Oh, Susan says season 2, episode 5. Thank you, Susan.
Did you know that off the top of your head? Because if you did, I bow down to you.
If you did, Susan, you win. If you do not,
you
still win because you went and looked it up and we didn't. So. Susan says, oh, one of the chorus has a big part in Enterprise. Cool. I don't care. It's Enterprise.
So,
but it's
a great concept.
No, it's great. It's wonderful because at the end of that episode, he is teaching the warring factions how to communicate with each other, because one of them goes off, fires at him saying, "No peace," and they kill the chorus instead of him. They beat him up back to the Enterprise, and then the other warring factions say that, "No, Reva, we need you back here." And then Data learns to communicate. This is blue. This is the blue ocean. This is 2 lovers. This is 2 lovers walking. This is 2 lovers in love walking along the blue ocean. And like, yes, thank you, Mr. Data. But Picard saying to Reva, "We will get through this together." It's an amazing concept. Although, granted, he does yell at a deaf man in order to try to make it. "We will get through this together." And it's just like, okay, yelling, not going to help.
No. Shouting, no.
Shouting at a deaf guy, not your best move, Sir Patrick.
However,
it was a beautiful Star Trek moment of, we'll get around this, we'll figure it out.
One of the cheesy elements of this episode is when the chorus gets hit with the phaser blast.
I almost picked that as the picture.
At the same time, they all make the same kind of... It cracked me up every time.
But it's a great vaporization. It's so cool. I mean, cheesy and cool.
Disintegration, but it's
all good. Right. So, what might you want to talk about next? Could it be another episode of yours
Sabrosa?
that might? I'm sorry.
Sabrosa?
Oh, you want to talk about if I remember correctly, Space Ghost.
So
yes. Sweet. No. Yes. No. How about we talk about the show that is spawning its own, to an extent, sequel, Lower Decks.
Lower Decks. Loved that episode. It was so refreshing to get that peek down below, for the other officers, where our main characters were almost secondary.
Yeah. It was a wonderful episode. I would have loved to actually have seen more episodes like that. I think that would have been really, really cool. You're seeing a lot of it in Discovery, actually, through Tilly. And especially season 1 of Discovery, when Burnham has no rank, and she's just Specialist Burnham. And
now, go ahead.
No, I was saying you saw it in Discovery that way, focusing on some lower ranking personnel.
Now, one of the things I thought was really cool about this episode is, again, it's that universe building. We get to see, and is her name Sito? Ensign Sato? Sito?
Ensign Sato.
The Bajoran girl.
Yes.
Who we saw in the First Duty.
That's right.
Right. She was part of Red Squadron.
Oh, yeah. That's right. And then she's the one that died. She's the one that died. Spoilers.
At the end of this episode.
Yeah. On the away mission, prompting the red-shirted guy to get the promotion to JG because they were going head-to-head who would get the promotion.
And then the Vulcan here, I don't think he was the same character in Voyager, but it's the same actor playing a Vulcan.
Oh, funny.
And that's I don't know why they dropped that ball. Maybe the same reason they didn't have Tom Paris be the same character.
An incredibly petty reason of that they didn't want to have a writer getting 30 cents an episode
right.
or whatever for creating Nick Locarno. Although Tom Paris and Nick Locarno are the exact same person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
there's a picture in Admiral Paris's office of Nick Locarno. Of course, it's Tom.
It's so. Now it would have been really funny to have it turn out that Tom Paris actually was Nick Locarno. It's like, yeah, I changed my name to try to get back into Starfleet. Just like, did it work? Nope. And then just change his name partway through the series. All right, Mr. Locarno, take the helm.
That was just plain silly.
Yeah, it was, but goodness. Well, let's move on a little bit and talk about.
Yeah, we're running out of time.
To me, one of the greatest episodes of all time. All Good Things.
Mm-hmm.
It is, in my opinion, a perfect representation of Star Trek, and just totally great. This showed us what Star Trek. I mean, whereas Measure of a Man. No, I'm sorry, not Measure of a Man. Loud as a Whisper showed us what Star Trek could be.
Mm-hmm.
This showed us what Star Trek was. Of let's figure things out. And Q says to Picard towards the end when they're back in the courtroom, he says, "For just a moment, you were open to possibilities you had never thought of before, never before considered, and this is what Star Trek could do." And it's the best finale.
It is. Well, DS9 is pretty good.
DS9 is sappy. It's a sappy finale.
How dare you?
I will come over there and I will fight you. No. DS9, it's a good finale. It's a satisfying finale. I feel that Next Gens was perfect because it was the adventure continues. He's
right.
like,
It was almost like, there could have been another episode next week.
Yeah. And it's what, in my opinion, the movie should have been. Generations would have been far more, especially for how hackneyed parts of it were. It would have been a better series finale. Like, oh, we're going out with a bang. Here's Captain Kirk. Holy, it's like, finally, the generations collide, even though it's happened 3 episodes before. I mean, like, all right, cool. And at that point, I think D. Kelly was still alive because this was not too long after the final original cast movie. So you could have had Ambassador Spock, Captain Scott, you could have had Admiral McCoy, and
his health was actually failing, which is why he was not in that movie.
Oh, okay. But like, you could have brought in everybody for this. Like, Koenig was in it already, so it's just like, yeah, can we get Sulu? Can he and Shatner patch it up?
It was just stupid to do. To even bring the original crew.
Like the running gag of, we're gonna get it on Tuesday. That was funny, but how he played the captain of the Enterprise is completely inept. It's like Captain Styles of the Excelsior. It's just like, what? No, this is not how you captain the Enterprise. You cannot act inept. And like, Kirk gives him a talking to, but no, you're not inept if you're the captain, if you're in the center chair on the USS Enterprise. No,
did you see the fan film of Gods and Men?
No, I never did, but I know Tim Russ is in it.
Tim Russ is in it. I think he directed it.
Oh, cool.
But that actor gets to reprise his role as John Harriman.
Oh, yeah. And he was the best friend in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And he was on one of the greatest sitcoms of all time, Spin City.
Oh, yeah, I did love
Spin City was great. But
what we got?
Another Picard-centric episode. Tapestry.
That was such a great episode. It's a great Q episode, but it gives us such great backstory of Picard, kind of, that they've touched on here and there, but getting to actually see it play out was delightful.
The reason for his heart. You see how he started becoming the more serious figure that he is down the line, but also that he has this adventurous past. And Monster Maroons.
Oh, love him.
Flowers. Is John Luck Pickard here?
John Luck Pickard. Now, go back to the picture real quick.
All right, cool. Bringing it back.
What's that woman's name? Marta?
Oh, yeah, Marta.
She was mentioned in Picard.
That's right. Yeah. He says, I didn't know your captain, but he served with...
right.
Yeah. Oh, see? World building. There you go.
Love it.
World building. So we have just a little bit of time left, so we could talk about Space Ghost if you want to.
No, I really do not. If we never mentioned it again, it would be too soon.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I will attempt to respect your wishes.
That one and the one where the ship turns into like a Mayan temple are two of the
Masks. Masks. Oh my God. That was just an excuse for Brent Spiner to go. That was like season 7. Let's get fired. It was just like
terrible.
Oh my God. Oh, Ahsoka is waiting. It's just like, what is happening? Brent Spiner, what are you doing?
Madness.
Oh my God. I mean, of course, we did not mention the best of both worlds, but we didn't need to.
I mean, that one, Yesterday's Enterprise, Inner Light, the Drumhead, Measure of a Man, as we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, but we have a couple of minutes left. You wanted to mention San Diego Comic-Con.
That's right. July 23rd, they're doing 3 panels. A Lower Decks panel where we're going to get a excuse me, I'm very allergy today, killing me. So Lower Decks panel, they're going to be showing an extended view of the first episode, which is exciting. This again is July 23rd. Then there's a Discovery panel where the Discovery crew, Discovery panel, and a bunch of folks from Strange New Worlds, of course, people that we know, will be there. They'll be doing a table read of the final episode of season 2 of Discovery. That'll be fun. And Picard, the Picard panel will have all of the heroes from the La Sirena, and Riker will be there, and Data will be there. So, yeah, I guess it's going to be available on their YouTube channel.
All right, and that's the San Diego Comic-Con 2020 Star Trek panels, July 23rd.
Or how they're doing it, what's going on. But like everybody else, they're just trying to stay alive. So
if there is a paywall, if it's low, I'll pay it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been to San Diego Comic-Con. Very intentionally. I've never been able to go to New York City Comic-Con because I'm always working. And San Diego Comic-Con, I don't feel like being like this. And holy smokes, would that be a breeding ground for
well, yeah, this year for sure.
For anything. I mean, and I also don't want to get stabbed by a protractor. Remember the dude got stabbed by a protractor? It was ridiculous. It's just like over seating in Hall H. But
of course, it was a protractor.
Yeah, because nerds.
Yeah.
But also, dude had a protractor? Mad respect. I gotta get.
All right, let's wrap this up.
All right, well, friends, I hope you enjoyed the show. If you're watching us on YouTube, please go like and subscribe so we can eventually change the name of the YouTube channel to actually being Talking Trek instead of like whatever gobbledygook it is. If you're watching us on Facebook, if you're watching it through my Shakespeare Facebook page, please head over to Talking Trek and Facebook.com/Talking Trek podcast. to like and subscribe to our channel, and let us know your thoughts. What are your favorite episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation? I think next week we might talk about a movie.
Yeah, let's talk about the motion picture.
Yeah, which means I have to go watch the motion picture.
I'm a fan of the director's cut. Honestly,
Ooh,
yeah.
Is that the one that's on Netflix / CBS All Access?
That I cannot tell you.
All right, well, that's what I'm going to watch because I don't have a DVD copy of it. I have or Blu-ray. I actually own like 4 Blu-rays, and only because they came with DVDs. I'm just like, all right, cool.
I don't.
We're skipping.
I stream everything.
We skipped Blu-ray basically. We have DVDs because you can still get them. We have we stream other stuff, and then that's it. I had the motion picture on VHS. It's actually sitting on that shelf right over there. That's off screen. It came in the 5 movie box set where they featured the original Enterprise. It was beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah, but motion picture, got to go rewatch. And I guess we might be possibly talking about different versions, but it'll be great.
The 12-minute intro of the the Starship porn. That 12-minute intro of the reintroduction of the Enterprise.
It makes it worth it. My dad saw the movie in theaters with his best friends. They were all there, and he said the crowd started cheering as soon as you got that first glimpse of the Enterprise going like rising up into the frame. He started cheering. He said it ebbed, but then it came back, and then it ebbed, and because the sequence is so long, it came back again. I'm just like, that's amazing. He goes, it was the happiest people were through the whole movie. But
there are some amazing fan CGI versions of that, like because that's done with models, of course. But there are some amazing videos on YouTube of fans who have redone that whole sequence. Gorgeous.
Why would they redo it? Because with the models, it's perfect.
It is, but they take a few liberties here and there. They cut out a few things. They change a couple things, and it's amazing.
It's the last time, by the way, we get to see thin Montgomery Scott. But with his porn stash. With his 70s porn stash.
Oh, yeah.
And Scotty looking like a boss in that moment because like he had this gigantic mop of hair. He's got the porn stash. He's still looking trim. Like he's looking more trim than he did in the original series. And it's just like, yeah, I'm Scotty. I killed Nazis. There you go. And it's just like he's there. He's awesome. And then, but oh man, I hate those uniforms.
And then, those pajamas.
If they were ever going to remake a yeah, we'll talk about it next week. If they're ever going to remake a movie, let it be that one. But we'll see you. Live long and prosper, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.